Frodian, I have a build on Cloud Kingdom. So far, I've lost 0% of the time to Blink Stalkers.
Is it the build that you tried to teach Huangson?
Yes.
The Sentry Gateway, Sentry Immortal?
Yes. It's Sentry Immortal with a single Colossus.
Oh, well that's interesting. I haven't seen
It's
that
just
in
a
while.
one base all in.
You didn't by any chance teach Huangson that build he used 2 weeks ago, did he? Where he went like a really fast expand into
No, you don't get an expansion.
A canceled Void Ray into double Robo Colossus into Mothership.
Sounds like me.
Off 2 base.
Sounds like me a lot. Dude,
It
Void
was
Rays
so
are OP,
weird.
man.
No, it was like he had like 4 Colossus and a Mothership and like 5 Stalkers / Zealots. It was like that's all he had, and like, and then I think was it Vibe he played last week. He just walked up and killed him. Like it didn't even matter. He just made Corruptors and Roaches. I was like, oh well, that was an interesting game.
Not against Zerg though. It was against Protoss.
Very
Very different.
Wangson's like, yeah, if he goes Max
implications.
Roach, I win. We're like, okay. He won the series, which was really fun.
Yeah.
But
But who
I was
really
so
goes Max
surprised.
Roaches anymore?
no one. That's why I was so
Nobody.
surprised. Huangson's like, yeah, if he went Max Roaches, I win. I'm like, Huangston, that's an
Huangston.
awesome build a year ago, man. Like, Stefano won IPL3 doing that. That was a year ago.
Yeah, man. Seriously. Against Infestorland, not so much.
Actually, fun fact, this day in StarCraft 2 history, Leenock won MLG Providence the first
Look
time.
at that. Leenock, one of the not so up-and-coming Zergs. This guy is
he's
so
probably
good.
the hottest Zerg in the world, I think, behind Life.
Probably one of the biggest aggression Zergs that I've ever seen before. Of course, Life is up there as well. July Zerg, another one of those players. Big stark contrast when you compare it to someone like Stefano, Chef, you know, those Nurchio, those other Zergs that really rely on just stable macro going into late game, Broodlord Infestor, and just owning it up at endgame.
Could not agree more, Andre. Now we see that the opening builds have been revealed. We see Oz does go for much earlier second gas. This is something he's been changing up. In first game he went for a delayed gas. The second game he's going for more of a standard time gas. Now he's going for a very early one. Now Naniwa, how does he respond to this? Naniwa's been playing really good. He's been doing his style and trying to react based off what he knows of his opponent. So he goes Zealot Sentry once again. But what would you like to see Naniwa do on this map?
I'd love to see Robo. I think Robo is actually the best style you could possibly do on this map. Just because you can get 3 Immortals out, single Colossus, and just some gateway units. And a lot of times Blinkstalkers, people say, oh, it's so good, it's so good. It is, if you're trying to defend your main. But you can actually just go for a complete base race and say, well, if you're going to rely on Blinkstalkers to stop me from coming outside my base, what I can do is actually just kill the other half of your army inside your base, let your Blinkstalkers do all the work. Yes, let's go into base trade, but I'm prepared for the base trade. I know to save up 400 minerals and then to bring all my probes along. That's a really good way to do it. Instead, he's going Stargate play. Wow, that's actually really surprising to me.
He's still going to have trouble, though, Andre, because Oz went for an 11 gate. I actually forgot to mention that because his warp gate is so much faster. This is a build that Oz pioneered in PvP that was so, I guess, revolutionary at the time because you can go for seemingly, it looks like you have so many Stalkers as if you went for 4 gate, but you go for double gas, reduce the amount of gas you intake by only having 2-3 probes on per gas, and they're able to squeeze out so many units. But I feel like with the Sentry energy that he's accumulated, Naniwa should be okay to hold off for a while.
He's fine. Just to let you know, you need exactly 3 sentries without Warp Gate to be able to chrono boost out 2 more sentries in order for you to get the 5 sentries and the maximum force fields. Or not maximum, infinite force fields. That way, once you force field, some other sentry will have enough energy to actually force field again. But you need perfect force fields. That means you need to bring it down to the very last second, like Naniwa is doing. He's going to go ahead, scout out, see what's going on. Is this going to be gateway pressure? Is this going to be Blink? Which, of course, we know it's Blink. And then he's going to fend off very easily.
It looks, for all intents and purposes, like well, not necessarily like a 3-gate, because you see there should be more units warping in. Oz really wants to see the top of the ramp, but he sees 4 streams of sentries. And Oz, of course, is just waiting for Blink to finish. Wow, man, Oz I mean, I think these Zealots and Stalkers should get the memo that there's no ability. They've been walking there for a long time, man.
Frodan, there's an incredible amount of time for Naniwa to actually react to this. From here, he's just going to get the Immortal. As soon as the Immortal comes out, what can you really do? Oz is actually supply capped at this point. Very unfortunate because guess what? His gateways, not on cooldown. He could be warping in units. This is a lot of time that he's wasting over here. Just because he had 3 pylons in front that he was banking on, actually relieving that supply cap. From here, Naniwa just going to take an amazing advantage. He has his Immortals. He has not only that, Stargates, not Stargates, but Phoenixes, and that's going to actually help out with just making sure his opponent isn't taking that expansion.
Now Oz does have Blink finished, and Naniwa has 1 Immortal out. Still very tough for Oz to do this. Oh, he blinks 1 Stalker very aggressively. He gets ahead. Now a mass blink as well. Naniwa let his guard down for half a second, and this is what he gets.
Really unfortunate.
Whoa, 1 millisecond making a huge difference. Although the Immortal's still able to add in a good amount of damage, and the Stalkers are taking heavy damage from the Zealots, but man, Naniwa lost way more than he should have there.
That's right, Frodan. And it looks like he's just going for a Zealot Immortal from here. I think the best option is actually to go for the Robotics Bay, but I love Naniwa's idea of this. Now, it looks like another Blink is going to come up here, really kills that Immortal super fast. Remember, 1 Immortal costs as much as 2 Stalkers. How many Stalkers did he just lose right there, Frodan? A lot more than 2.
Yeah, he lost 3, at least 4 maybe? Oh, and Naniwa can pick up the rest of them and really work them out. Nice!
That's so cute, man.
Yeah.
3 Phoenixes now. Now, the Phoenixes do the same thing as the Colossus does. It breaks down Force Fields, but Phoenixes need to be used before him.
Very nice. Disabling the sentries as well.
That's right.
And now Oz has to retreat. Now Oz does have a lot of resources banked. So he was going for an expansion. I guess he wanted to set up a huge blink in and then try to kill off probes and get an advantage that way. You still kind of can, although Naniwa, his Phoenixes kind of prevent that. That's what's so interesting because we don't see Phoenix opening that often on Cloud Kingdom. But that kind of denies the ability for for Stalkers to kind of blink in. We see Liquid Hero do that quite often when he feels behind in PvP.
Really nicely done. Actually taking an expansion. Wow, that's so surprising. I really feel like Naniwa can just really assert himself in here right now, take out this Nexus, and just basically have the most gigantic advantage ever. What he's scared of in this position is the pylons around the map. He knows this 1 pylon is here. If there's another pylon that actually really, really hurts him, of course, some sort of huge counterattack could do monstrous amounts of damage. And if he doesn't do good damage, doesn't take out the Nexus or something like that, then he'll be so far behind. But now, I guess he feels comfortable. He's going to push out here. It's a lot of Phoenixes. Now, this is... Just think of it this way. If he wins a single battle... 4 Phoenixes now. If he wins a single battle, all Warpins directly after that are null. They're void. They won't work because they're just going to get picked up. That's so very important. Unfortunately, Naniwa is not going to assert himself across the map. You can see Oz has pretty nice positioning overall, but his tech is super far behind Frodan. That means that Naniwa has a pretty large advantage.
Yep, and Naniwa has 2 Immortals out, so he's very safe against the Stalkers. Overall, it seems like we have kind of a reset. The Phoenix is still trying to come in and harass. Nice pick off there from Oz. Naniwa hasn't really been able to harass at all, but he's still getting good information on his opponent's base. Seeing really nothing but gateways. That means Oz is just going to stick on Blink Stalker for a while. Yep. But I feel like Naniwa, when he has 3 Immortals with a 4th coming out, he is going to be very, very nice against this composition.
Yeah, I don't think Naniwa is really in a losing position at all. I mean, it's going to be very hard for him to actually lose this. Of course, if he donates to Phoenixes the way he's doing it, that's actually one way to really mess things up.
He's fighting out in the open too, where his Immortals can kind of get picked off and chased down.
He needs to be careful with that. It's fine to actually just drop back all the way to your natural. Know that Sentry Immortal is going to be invincible against Stalker Sentry, and just relax. Just get Zealots, get Sentries, get Immortals, and you're fine. It looks like Oz is just going to go up the front. Now remember, he does have the option to actually attack into the main. I don't think Oz can do anything.
Naniwa doesn't want to get force fielded. Does have 1 mortal trap, but there are 5. Has to prevent the other 3 from being able to get in. This is a pretty good job from Oz to deny any kind of Immortal from engaging, but in fact, nothing's really engaging. Just a couple of stalkers getting picked off, and that's a great response from Naniwa not to force himself down in an aisle that's not going to be open.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Naniwa, all he has to do is actually keep making more Zealots. You can see these Immortals are getting actually torn apart pretty nicely. They're actually focusing down on the Zealots. Naniwa actually fumbling a lot right there, but I think he will actually stabilize. You can see he's warping in more Zealots. Of course, Oz is warping in more Zealots because he doesn't want those Immortals dealing a lot of damage against those Stalkers. I feel like that battle really went Oz's way, and all of a sudden, you know, I felt Naniwa's unlosable situation turns out to be
the Immortals are all jumbled
really
too.
bad.
It has to be very cautious. Yeah, the force fields of Oz were awesome, near perfect to section off the Immortals.
Oh no!
Oh, the
Colossus!
This can add a huge tide-turning change, considering how much investment it is. 300, 200. Oz taking some free damage. Zealots are also getting very weak. That's going to allow Naniwa's Zealots to come in, and Oz's supply is now dwindling a lot, considering this Colossus was a great choice to make sure Zealots are not buffering, letting the Immortals do all the damage in the world, and Oz, his supply of the army is dwindling.
That's right, Frodan. That Colossus, the single unit, actually helps out immensely, killing the Zealots a lot faster, allowing the Mortals to target what they want to target, those Stalkers. You saw how fast those Zealots just evaporated, and now the Immortals are just going to pave the way for victory. There's really no way that Oz can confront this army. You can see the supplies are massively different, 91 to 72. Oz has one more shot for this, I think, and that's going to be defensively. He's getting a robotics facility. I feel like he's really closing the door there. He has to rely on Naniwa making a mistake, and I feel like going into Templar tech would be probably the best way. I know that sounds crazy, but get Templars, get those Archons, get charge lots, and then try to overwhelm this army, because Immortal Colossus is going to be way too powerful against Stalkers, and then delayed Colossus some more.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, Andrea. If you get like Zealots charge, maybe a couple Archons to kind of soak damage and also add AoE against their Zealots, and you engage them in the open without pumping up. I mean, Colossus is pretty much not effective if they get surrounded immediately.
Yeah, that's right.
Mortals don't know where to shoot because their AI is awful.
And then a good way to actually do it is take a third base. You aren't really planning on saturating it, but if your opponent doesn't do anything, then it's fine. You have a third base a lot earlier. But what it should do is draw your opponent out. You can cancel it. You can do a series of things. You can just leave it there and not probe it up. And then you have these Zealots. You have these Stalkers. You have these Archons that can just surround your opponent from all angles, and then voila, you're in a great position. Very nice job with that flank by Naniwa, just making sure he has all bases covered and stopping those Stalkers from doing additional pressure. Naniwa just trying to assert himself out in the map. You can see that he's itching for some sort of action. Zealot's already being warped in on the mid right-hand position. I feel like Naniwa, he's going to win it here.
Yeah, things are looking good for our Swedish Protoss. And guys, remember, this is win or go home. If Oz loses here, he had a much better record than Naniwa. He was 6-2. In fact, Naniwa is literally the last seed in the wild cards, ranked number 16, but showing that he is by no means 16th in skill. Oz losing a lot of Stalkers trying to blink. 4 Stalkers, 5 Stalkers got caught with 2 Colossus. Now going to work on the rocks, and he is knocking on the door. Oz has the final seconds of his defense. Double Robo Colossus pops out. That might give it up, but look at how many Zealots he has.
There are so many Zealots, Frodan, and initially, I think Naniwa has it though, Frodan. There's just too much stuff. GG gets called out. Naniwa takes game number 2. Absolutely brilliant play coming out from him. You know, I was saying all these things, like Naniwa should do this, Naniwa should do that, but with the information that he was given, he made almost perfect decisions the whole time. I love the Phoenix Immortal composition in the beginning stages. It allowed him to do a lot of pressure, see exactly what his opponent was doing, disable those sentries, and give that Immortal the Immortal main composition the ability to do the work, kill those Stalkers, and of course actually get in range of those Stalkers without being force fielded out. And then through that he was able to establish his natural. There's one little dicey part, but for the most part I felt like Naniwa played that brilliantly.
I agree, Andre. I think the set of decisions that Naniwa made to expand, the way he set up split the army was great. I think his patience when he realizes Oz also geared up a lot of his gas for force fields for one attack. That means because when you go Blink Stalkers, you usually have an influx of gas.
Yes.
And it's like you always wonder as an opponent, what is he doing with that gas? Is he tacking back to something else? Those 4 sentries represented so much of Oz's gas that Naniwa knew he had to hold that position. Well done, and now he has a 2-1 lead. His job's not done yet, but we'll find out when game number 4. Want to remind everyone that the finals are coming up. Andre, I'm very excited. We are doing a live Fierce Fitness at the finals.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are. So you guys want to pick up your ticket to have fun. Lauren's also cosplaying and stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is she going to Fierce Fitness in the cosplay?
I don't know. Maybe we can debate about that. It's gonna be tough. I think the 80s workout gear is probably more appropriate. It's all for you guys. You want to come down to Center Theater in Long Beach, California. Pick up your tickets today. We also want to thank Epson, the #1 projector band worldwide. Check them out at Epson.com. While we're on the break, get ready for game number 4 between Naniwa and Oz. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just a sec.